Welcome to a stop the press moment ahead of the Brightwells Classic and online sales. So we've had a few interesting late arrivals that we thought we'd just give a brief mention to, because unless we tell you, you may not know. So first and foremost, here we have a 1976 Chevrolet Corvette C3 with the 350 cubic inch V8, 5.7 litres, in a lovely white with this sort of really cool coppery coloured pinstriping. We've taken one of the roof panels off so we can show you that it's Targa roofed, with a lovely oxblood leather interior, showing just 45,000 miles, automatic transmission, low to go, lightish weight body being fiberglass today. Rumour has it the fiberglass is quite thick on a lot of these, but still lighter than a steel version might be. Interesting car, in at £15,000 reserve, or estimate 15 to 17, something like that. Looks like a whole lot of car, style and substance for the money. Gold medallion and spray on chest hair required, but that's fine. Look at this, a thing of absolute abject beauty, a 1935 MG NA Recreation. So this car's led quite an interesting life. It was rescued in the 60s by a 19-year-old chap who found it languishing, looking rather sorry for itself, in a compost heap when it had a sort of rakish two-seater body in a bit of a sorry state. He pulled it out, cleaned it off, and no doubt sold it on for a handsome profit. The car then changing hands several times during the 80s and early 90s until its last owner, before our vendor, bought it in 1996 and kept it all the way up until just 2017, just recently, during which time it raced quite significantly. So the car was rebuilt into what we see here, a replica of the TTNE racing car raced by Charlie Dodson back in the day. And the car comes with its historic MSA logbook, and raced it at the old-timer GP at the Nürburgring in Clausen in the early noughties. When our vendor purchased the car in 2017, he bought it as a sort of ongoing concern as a racing car, but then decided to treat it to a bit of an engine rebuild. So the 1287cc engine, which is a 6-cylinder lump, has had new pistons, careful balancing, a new Newman cam, and Surdy, who machined the block, also gas flowed the head and fitted new valves. So we understand it's good to go and sounds excellent. The Wolseley gearbox has 4 speeds and has also been rebuilt with new gear set, and the carburetor has also been rebuilt too. So it looks like it's a sort of ready to go car. I mean, it looks fantastic, sounds fantastic, and feels really neat. I can only imagine that people were rather smaller back in the 30s than they are now. Lovely dashboard, an array of gauges, toggle switches, etc. The passenger seat set slightly back from the driver's seat. Definitely a very exciting car to drive, no doubt. Slightly overtired perhaps with these large wheels and tyres, but it looks kind of butch and muscular. Definitely some fantastic details to have a look at on here. So I'd suggest you come and have a look. Guided at 120 to 140,000 pounds. Represents ideal entry because you can go and do various historic racing with something like this. We all love it and think it's beautiful. Sort of thing that you could put in your office if you have enough space, for sure. So there's some nice features on this old MG. For example, adjustable shock absorbers here, cable operated brakes, and these tension struts here, which stops when you press the brake, because the front axle is bolted to the springs, which is mad, but was done at the time. It stops the whole thing wanting to twist round with this cable here. Really ingenious, but it's some fantastic little details on here, such as this little cooling vessel here. Okay, it's got the wrong headlights possibly, but you can change things like that. But adjustable shock absorbers in the 30s, fantastic. So this wild creation here is a Land Rover Tomcat 100, originally conceived in the late 90s, early noughties by Drew Bowler when they were known as Bowler Tomcats and Bowler Wildcats. The Tomcat thing was basically a lightweight racing Land Rover with a big V8 engine that used a modified shortened Range Rover Classic chassis to 100 inches, hence the 100 part of the name, clothed in lightweight GRP panels with a big 3T V8 and an integral roll cage, as we have here, although it's hidden by the cladding. So this one started life in 2015. Our vendor decided to build one, bought all the parts, spent at least £4,000 on a remanufactured Rover V8, new gearbox, etc., body panels, chassis modifications. I think in total it came to about £39,000. Then he registered it in late 2021, so it's on a 22 plate, had an IVA, it's registered correctly as a Land Rover Tomcat 100 on the chassis plate under the bonnet. So what we have here is basically a road legal racing Land Rover that you could take racing if you did a few more racing modifications to it with the correct FIA approved bits and pieces. But this has got road tyres on its 18-inch boost wheels. They're Kumo tyres, so it's for road bias. But when you look at these unusual shapes here, you see these huge lumps and bumps. So these are for the suspension turrets, plenum. You've got the original Bowler logo here, the paw print, and it says Wildcat or Tomcat in various places. So we'll pop the bonnet and have a quick look. Here, this is all GRP, all lightweight over the modified Range Rover 100-inch chassis. You've got these high length travel Fox gas shocks, 3.9 litre Rover V8 here, sat nice and low in comparison to other parts of the vehicle. Lots of aluminium going on, and as we can see here, it's registered as a Wildcat 100, also known as a Tomcat. Quick release fittings and fixtures, crawler bars on the side here, some nice seats with 4-point harnesses, and a very Spartan sort of interior but functional with your essential gauges. There's a Thatcham approved immobiliser system, and your scoop here on top of the roof feeds air to the radiators which live in the back. So this rear clam lifts up, we'll show you in a second. So as we can see here in the back, again, GRP clam, GRP and aluminium. Radiators at the back here, battery, and this is the mount for the spare wheel. And again, you can see the Fox gas struts in the back. So the whole vehicle is lightweight, lots of fun, sounds good, goes well. It's just been dynoed at 151 horsepower. It might not sound a lot, but remember, it doesn't weigh very much. So the Rover V8 is known for revving and lots of torque. So it'll go particularly well. I used to have one of these, oddly enough, but without the rear clam on it, with side exit pipes. This one has a side pipe, but I had pipes on both sides and less silencers than this got on it. Was a fantastic tool, great to go to the pub on a Sunday or razz around the field, and just looked epic. But yes, so this has done about 214 miles since it's been built. The vendor's in it for an awful lot of money, but he built it as an indulgence. Yes, done 214 miles and hasn't really found much opportunity to use it. He did sort of think about going racing, but it just hasn't happened. So hence it's in our sale here at a modest guide price of £25,000, which seems like an awful lot of value compared to the £39,000 spent building it, let alone the IVA and registration costs. Hell of a tool. So when you look underneath here, you can see that most of the vulnerable stuff is tucked out of the way. Got Lockheed Girling rear calipers, disc brakes on the back, nice big beefy springs, and of course that high travel suspension with those long shock absorbers. Very exciting vehicle to drive at speed off-road, I imagine. I was lucky enough to go on one at Goodwood Festival of Speed and be razzed around their test track, and it was epic, and it cemented in my mind the need for one, hence I had to have one several years later. Right, we'll have a look what else has come in. Here we have a proper modern classic, and one that is definitely continually on the rise according to market trends, the Toyota Supra Turbo Mark III. So from 1990, finished in red, this is a UK car with the famous 3-litre 7M GTA 6-cylinder engine with single turbo, developing 232 horsepower going to the rear wheels, here by desirable 5-speed manual transmission. Lovely grey interior, all leather. It's got adjustable bolsters on the driver's seat, which is nice, showing about 115,000 miles. Looks to be largely unadulterated. It's not got a silly exhaust system on it. It's got its original wheels. These are good vehicles and nice to drive, very comfortable GT cars. A little bit different to the Mark IV that followed with its swoopy shapes and big whale tail, but still a nice, handsome shape. This is a slick top, obviously. Okay, it's had a couple of small repairs, possibly with a rattle can, unfortunately, in minor locations around the car, as you'll see in the photos online, but good thing. And of course, everybody likes a car with pop-up headlights, so we'll pop the bonnet and have a quick look underneath. Look at that, automotive pornography, the 7M GTA 6-cylinder single turbo engine, 232 horsepower, as we say. It's even got its original airbox on it, which is most uncommon. Most of them have got, K&N style filters or other aftermarket atrocities. Nice thing, that CT16 turbo. The engines break for fortunes on these, and you can get good power out of them if you know what you're doing. Lovely. Nice to see one that's not been messed about with, to be honest. Too many of these have unfortunately been titted with, and then because they weren't worth very much for a long time, they'd sort of languished and got left to sort of rot, basically. But this is in at £8,000, so nice car, a little bit to do if you want to make it perfect cosmetically. But current MOT, there's a crack in the windscreen, just a minor one here. But you get that on your insurance policies nowadays. 2+2 seating. There's a lot to like with this, for sure. In fact, the more I look at it, the more I like it. Another surprisingly interesting vehicle. This is a 2001 Range Rover 4.6 P38. But it's not just any P38 4.6. This is one of only 93 UK cars. The other 300 went to America. This is a P38 Range Rover by Holland Holland, the gun maker. So, as a bit of a last hurrah for the P38 in 2001 before the replacement L322 came out, they teamed up with Holland Holland to create this sort of bespoke vehicle from Land Rover Special Vehicles. So inside, we've got a fantastic bridal brown leather interior, piped light brown, specific type of walnut trim here with inlaid little bits with a Holland Holland on. Again, Holland Holland in front of the passenger seat, two-tone steering wheel, two-tone dashboard with hand-stitched leather sections. A specifically unique colour for this vehicle called Tintern Green, 18-inch Hurricane alloys, again with the body colour matching accents on them, and other little bits and pieces like rear picnic trays, again walnut, and then in the boot there's a collapsible picnic tray with leg sections that screw together that resemble shotgun barrels. So again, really cool. And the door handles again have been blued to resemble parts of a shotgun, so all quite nice. So when it was new, it would have cost about 70 grand. One of only 93 originally sold. They won't all exist anymore, sadly. So it's a relatively rare car, guided at 16 to 17,000 pounds. If you're into your Land Rovers and collectible ones, this is probably one to look at. It's done 118,000 miles. Presents very well indeed. It's had some paint at some point in its life, but what sort of car that's 23 years old hasn't? Air suspension appears to work as it should do. It goes up and down and adjusts itself. It bongs as you get in, like all P38s do, like window resets, but generally it presents very well. It's a nice truck with an interesting history, low owners. There's quite a lot to like about this, and being a late P38, it's probably got the best. It's got the 4.6 litre Thor engine, 218 horsepower, more torque than the earlier Lucas Gem engine version. Lots to like. Stainless steel exhaust system sounds really nice and fruity. I think it looks cool personally. I'm a P38 fan, but I'm also an L322 fan as well. I just happen to quite like the shape. And when they have the later cars with the body coloured bumpers and grille, they just look quite purposeful and muscular. Gets the thumbs up. So if you like what you've seen here, these are a few of the later arrivals. Have a look at the catalogues. They should all be now complete and up to date, given the sale starts in a couple of days on Saturday. So the classic car sale finishes on June the 19th from midday. Online garage, which is day 2, finishes on June the 20th, again from midday. Viewing is on Monday and Tuesday the 17th and 18th of June, 9 till 5. Everybody's welcome. There's food here from RJ Smokehouse and excellent coffee and cakes from Carburetor Coffee. Have a look on their Instagram. Check us out on our Instagram and our YouTube, where you'll see this review and other ones that we've done, or have a look at the catalogue online. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.